Now, The Hunt Palmer Show. You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Locking down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. This is Hunt Palmer.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio downtown in the capital city on this Tuesday, first show of 2024. Hope your work year is off to a good start. Thanks for hanging out with us, Jacob Beck and Casey Gaines back there on the ones and twos. Hope everybody had a safe, happy, and fun new year. It was rewarding from a South Louisiana perspective on the football field. We certainly got a lot to talk about. We'll get into LSU and Wisconsin. We'll get into the college football playoff, which was fantastic television yesterday. We'll get into the Saints and their win over Tampa Bay and what it looks like this week moving forward. Plenty to get to over the next 2 hours, so thanks for locking us in. I was planning on starting today with LSU and Wisconsin. However, there has been some breaking news within the last hour, so we'll go ahead and start there as it pertains to the LSU football program. Couple of guys have decided they are leaving LSU for different reasons. Mekhi Wingo, a junior defensive tackle. He played one at Missouri, two at LSU. Junior defensive tackle has declared for the NFL draft, and Lance Hurd, who did not travel with the team for the ReliaQuest Bowl, has announced that he will enter the transfer portal. I'll take these separately. Because both are hits to the LSU football program, certainly. Mekhi Wingo put together a really good freshman season at Missouri. He was a freshman all-conference player and looked elsewhere for bigger and better things than Missouri and came to Baton Rouge. And last year, he was exceptional. Played a phenomenal season of football for LSU and got some All-American recognition for it. He came back this year and in the middle of the season got hurt, tried to play through it, wasn't very productive. LSU's defense was very poor, and he decided, hey, I'm going to step away, get this surgery, and I'll be back for postseason play, whatever that may be. And you hear that, and you go, well, they're probably not going to be in the playoffs because they've already got 2 losses. I doubt you're coming back for a bowl game. Well, he rehabbed from that surgery, put in a month of practice, and went out there and played in the ReliaQuest Bowl and played well at times. LSU's defense was not very good, but Mekhi Wingo was active. He had 2 sacks in the game, including a huge one on the final drive of the game. And I thought had the quote of the offseason saying, hey, they elected me a team captain. I'm wearing this number 18. I owe it to go out there with those boys and play one more time. And for Mekhi Wingo, there is a sizable amount of quality tape at the college level. There's good tape when he was an 18-year-old freshman. There's good tape in the Southeastern Conference at Missouri and at LSU, certainly as a sophomore. Then you can explain away a very unproductive year by his standards this year by saying, hey, I was hurt. And Mekhi Wingo's never going to be 6'6", 335. He's an undersized interior defensive lineman that's got a high motor and some quickness, and he's either going to sink or swim at the next level. He's never going to be a first-round pick, and he's probably going to be, a middle-round pick, 3rd, 4th, 5th round. Then you got to go to camp, lace your shoes up, and see what you can do. Now, there is financial opportunity in the college game now, and that's something that he could weigh, but he wants to go start his professional career, and I understand that. So for LSU on the defensive front, now all eyes turn to Mason Smith and what his decision may be. If you lose Mason Smith and you start to look at defensive tackle, the numbers and the proven depth are tough to look at. It's Jacobian Guillory, it's Jordan Jefferson, and then you start to look at the really young players. It's a tenuous spot there for LSU. You go to the junior college ranks and you get Sean Washington and hope that that's a plug-and-play situation, but defensive line on the interior is a huge question mark for LSU. I could make the argument that if Mekhi Wingo were to come back next year, he's LSU's second best defensive player. That's a big deal on a team that's trying to retool its entire defense. So this one hurts. I think I kind of saw it coming, but it hurts. The other departure today, a likely departure, is Lance Hurd, who has announced that he will enter the transfer portal. And, Lance Hurd is an immensely talented and gifted young offensive lineman. The reason he was a 5-star prospect, a top 10 player in the country, there's a reason he started a football game as a true freshman on the offensive line. There's a reason they had him out there at right tackle a lot in September. And then the dust settled, and Miles Frazier played better, and they liked Emory Jones at tackle, so Lance Hurd became the 6th guy. He played on the field goal teams and, was a reserve. And there's a chance that LSU returns 4 of 5 offensive linemen next year, and certainly both tackles. And the path straight to the field is tough for Lance Hurd. He could do it. He could win a spot. But it's tough. And I don't know Lance Hurd, but I know what he said. And when he signed to play football at LSU last year, he said, I'm going to be the left tackle. He said, well, they got a freshman left tackle, Will Campbell, teammate in high school of Lance Hurd. And he said, I know, I'm going to be the left tackle. And that's a guy who's obviously got supreme confidence and an expectation that he wants to play. And he might not next year if guys stay healthy and everybody comes back. Now, he might, but he might not. And here's the reality of the situation with Lance Hurd. We are in an era of college football where the second you put your name in that transfer portal, dollar signs start happening. Not for everybody, but for someone like Lance Hurd, they do. There is a market for Lance Hurd. It is undeniable. You may love it that college athletes are in that situation. You may hate it that college athletes are in that situation. It doesn't change the fact they're in it. What was I talking about a ton in early December? I've got first-year head coach in Jeff Lebby at Mississippi State going to the podium on signing day in a Mississippi State collective shirt. I've got Marcus Freeman going to the podium on signing day for Notre Dame thanking the collective. You think the Grove Collective up there in Oxford is sitting on its hands? No, they're doling out cash left and right. It's not technically supposed to be for recruiting inducement, but they've basically allowed that. So Lance Hurd, I'm certain, well, shouldn't say that. That's hyperbole. I'm confident Lance Hurd has already been contacted by multiple teams that have put him in contact with the people who handle the NIL funds. Now, that opportunity exists at LSU, too. And that even wouldn't even be a recruiting inducement. He's already here. But if you just stay at LSU and do it, you've got one bidder. You go to the transfer portal, fair game. And again, I don't know Lance Hurd. I don't know what motivates him. I don't know if it's that he's not going to be the left tackle at LSU next year and wants to go do that somewhere, or if he wants to create a market for himself. No idea. Never talked to the man one time in my life. But I know how the system works. And that's how it works. As far as Lance Hurd's hit to LSU, not as significant to me as Mekhi Wingo. Because LSU's offensive line is now in a situation where the talent is excellent and the depth is fantastic. You return potentially 4 starting offensive linemen from a Joe Moore finalist. They love what DJ Chester could bring at the center position. You've got some high-level recruits from the last 2 classes that are coming in and won't be expected to immediately go to the field like Will Campbell did, like Emory Jones did, like Lance Hurd did in September. So while, yes, you would absolutely prefer to keep Lance Hurd around, no question about it. He becomes your third tackle and potentially the heir apparent to left tackle when Will Campbell inevitably leaves this time next year. You want that guy in your program. It was a huge recruiting win for LSU. They brought him in and gave him every opportunity to play, and they decided that wasn't the direction they wanted to go. So this is a loss, but there are 11 other guys in that room that were highly thought of, highly recruited, have a great position coach, and a lot of them have already played. So both losses here are significant in my estimation. LSU's defense has to undergo a massive makeover over the next 8 months. And Mekhi Wingo would have been a really nice piece to start with. You don't have him. As far as Lance Hurd goes, it's a big loss, both literally and figuratively. But the offensive line is in a position to withstand that. You're doing a good enough job recruiting high school players, getting them in your program, developing them, and retaining them that, it stinks, but it is what it is. I don't fault either guy for their decision. I think Mekhi Wingo's saying, hey, let's go. Not a situation where there's a ton on my game that I can work on that the NFL is going to care about. And if I'm Lance Hurd, cash register starts popping, and I got a chance to play left tackle somewhere because he's good enough to do it. And I don't think Lance Hurd is headed to an FCS school or another in-state school here. Now, he's going to go probably find another home with a big boy school, probably in the SEC if I had to guess. So that's a big bummer for LSU that you'll probably have to play against that guy. But can't say you're shocked by it when you realize that the big fella didn't get on the airplane to go to Tampa on the 26th. So the news of the day today, Lance Hurd, Mekhi Wingo, both headed out of LSU, very likely Mekhi Wingo to the draft. Lance Hurd currently in the transfer portal. It's a Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. We will come back. I'll talk LSU, Wisconsin on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You are now listening to the Hunt Palmer Show. In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Hey, boat owners, check it out. It is the holiday season, which means it's time to buy yourself a gift by taking your boat to the next level with our friends at Front to Back Boat Service. Now is the perfect time to upgrade your boat and get it ready for that warmer weather, whether that's trolling motors, HD sonar, anything and everything. The Sherman family's been at it for 30 years, and Devin's going to take you through 30 more. Find them on Facebook at Front to Back Boat Service or go to fronttobackboatservice.com.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
The importance of doing this fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
You know, we're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance shops, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. And I think we're rocking and rolling.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated.
So join us for Tuesday's AFR presented by Sunshine. Matt is back in the host chair. We're recapping LSU, Wisconsin, and the ReliaQuest Bowl. Saints and Bucs. It's Tuesday's AFR, 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You're listening to the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Exciting football game. I thought Wisconsin played outstanding football today. Really proud of our football team in a game where two teams really wanted to win the football game. There was no doubt about whether these guys wanted to be here or not. Both teams wanted to be here. Both teams wanted to win.
Brian Kelly yesterday after the ReliaQuest Bowl win over Wisconsin. Final score was 35-31. Look, I'll admit it. I'll admit when I say something and I'm wrong. Not 100% wrong, but wrong to a degree. Whenever I watch a game at home, I usually don't sit down. I pace around the coffee table. I go grab a vitamin water out of the fridge. I'm nervous. There's nervous energy going when LSU's playing football. And I started this game literally 10 toes up on the couch horizontal. Like, okay, let's just watch. Like I would watch the Broncos and the Chargers. But after 2 years of absolute trash from a bowl perspective, that awful Texas Bowl with John Trey Kirkland playing quarterback and whatever Purdue put on the field last year, I was excited to see the end of this game as competitive as it was. That Texas Bowl was terrible. I don't even remember what bowl they were in last year. It doesn't matter. It was terrible. Purdue didn't show up. The Drew Brees is the honorary assistant coach bowl.
The Cheez-It Bowl.
There you go. Cheez-It Bowl. Couldn't have even told you what it was. That's where we are. I did the pre- and post-game show for it. They won by 50. I was into the game at the end. And I told you all month that, I don't care if they win or lose. I just want to see some of the improvement on defense and Nussmeier play well. And that is true to a degree. If Wisconsin had gone down there and scored and beaten LSU, as opposed to them getting the 3 sacks, I would not have been crestfallen. I would have actually said, you know what? Nussmeier proved that he could do the job. That's a win in my book. So it did not feel like one of those Saturday nights in Death Valley in October when there's top 5 teams out there. I'm not going to say I was that wrong, but I was interested in winning the game. At that point, when it got to the end, I wanted LSU to get that stop and win the game. I was no longer 10 toes up on the couch, relaxing. I was up in my normal pacing around the coffee table motion, and the Tigers did get it done. But once again, the most important thing to me as far as this game goes was the performance of Garrett Nussmeier. And when the dust settled, Garrett Nussmeier finished 31 of 45 for 395 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception, and obviously led the 98-yard drive that finished the thing off. And while I thought he looked a little jittery early on, kind of ducking the head, seeing the rushers, missed a couple of throws, I thought he settled in, got comfortable, got confident, and played great. And then I thought about that, and I go, he hasn't been the starting quarterback for a football team in 3 years. The last time he practiced with the ones, had a game plan put in for him, and then went out there to start the game and to play football without a protective jersey on in practice was 3 years ago when he was in high school. Why would I expect him to go out there and be completely comfortable with 320-pound guys trying to crush him? That can't happen at practice. And so I don't know why my expectation was that he might go out there and just look really good from the start. But once he settled in, I thought he was excellent. Showed the arm strength, made quality decisions. Even the interception I didn't think was completely egregious. I thought he made a little bit of an inaccurate throw. Instead of getting it closer to Thomas's body, he got it a little bit out into the middle of the field. I thought Thomas didn't quite make the effort play to get there. And then I thought the Wisconsin kid just made a really great play on the ball. But outside of that, he made every throw. On the last drive, he fits it in to Lacey between levels, in front of the safety, behind the corner, touch throw with accuracy. We see him take the deep shot to Chris Hilton, put some air under the ball, gorgeous throw there. And then we see that in-breaking route to Brian Thomas in traffic in the red zone. I mean, 3 very different throws. He makes all 3 excellently and drives LSU down for the go-ahead score. I thought that Garrett Nussmeier was very, very good in this game. And Brian Kelly, after the game, talked about the traits that he showed.
I don't think you win a game on athleticism. You know, you have to have the things necessary to overcome a deficit, overcome being a first-time starter. You can't just get by on arm talent. You've got to be a guy that is confident in your ability, has a great process that he trusts. So he's got a lot of the same traits that Jaden does. Obviously, he doesn't run and has the escapability. You didn't see any of that today where Jaden created a lot of yards for us there, but Nuss can do it in other ways. And I think he's going to continue to do that for us.
And I'll tell you this, which goes back to my point really from all of December, that the win and the loss wasn't the most important thing to me. It was the development of Nussmeier and the defense. And so I did catch myself when LSU took over at the 2-yard line, trailing, under 6 minutes to play, and Garrett Nussmeier coming out there. I said, this is great, because I would so much rather Garrett Nussmeier get put in this situation in the ReliaQuest Bowl in front of dozens of fans against Wisconsin, who's 7-5, as opposed to in Vegas on Labor Day weekend, or a couple weeks later against UCLA, or when conference play starts, or Ole Miss comes to Baton Rouge, and all of a sudden he's doing this for the first time. No, let's try to go on a crunch time, gotta have it, throwing it every down drive with a quarterback who hasn't been in this spot in college. And Nussmeier performed brilliantly on that drive, as I just alluded to, and he spoke after the game about his mindset once the offense took the field tucked up against its own goal line.
Hey, it is what it is. You got to do what you got to do to win the football game. It doesn't matter if you got to start from the 1, the 2, or you get the ball at the 30, So you just stick to the process. You go play by play, do the right things, and, just move the chains, and put the ball in the end zone.
Confident and mature, which is what you would expect. There is always a little bit of a different level of interview skill when you get to a coach's kid. It's just an inherent advantage they've had their entire life of being around the game, of talking through the game, having someone who understands it at the highest level, which his dad does. And so you can tell that that's been beat into his brain his entire life. Sometimes you get a little over anxious when you're actually playing and making split-second decisions on the field. But in terms of a mindset and an approach and then answering questions, I think you can see that maturity of a third-year college player who's been around football his entire life. And I talked all week about how comfortable a landing spot that would be for Garrett Nussmeier to have Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas and Kyron Lacey and Mason Taylor, and to have Garrett Dellinger and Miles Frazier and Charles Turner, and then his 2 tackles and Campbell and Jones, and to have a healthy running back room with Diggs and Jackson, Josh Williams, who's played a ton of football. Like, what a great spot to be in. The best offense in college football. You take out the Heisman Trophy winner, put you in, and how do you perform? But the one variable that we didn't see coming, because it happened so late, was the exit of Mike Denbrock. And so enter Cortez Hankton and Joe Sloan. And Joe Sloan has been the quarterback coach for 2 years. He's been with Garrett Nussmeier every day for 2 years, meeting rooms, practice field, the whole lot. And now it's Joe Sloan's opportunity to call plays for this offense, and really, I think, audition for the job. And Garrett Nussmeier was asked, what'd you think of the job your quarterback coach did in his new co-offensive coordinator role?
Yeah, no, I think Coach Sloan did an amazing job. We've been working on this for 2 weeks, and I think he put a great plan together. I think him and Coach Hank put a great plan together, and I think he did an amazing job calling the plays and getting us in the groove and giving us opportunities to make plays and get in rhythms.
I would agree with that. I thought that LSU really struggled to run the ball early in the game. Wisconsin was kind of handling them up front, and you couldn't get the running back game running. And sometimes that happened for LSU this year where the running backs weren't really able to do much. It happened in Tuscaloosa. But Daniels just took over because he could be your ground game. Well, Garrett Nussmeier can't do that. So, what do? Well, they still ran it some. They ran the ball 25 times, but they realized, okay, we've got talented receivers, even with Malik in street clothes now, and Lacey went down briefly, but you still got talented receivers. You got a good tight end. You've got a good pass-blocking offensive line, and Wisconsin doesn't rush the passer great. We're just going to rely on the ability to throw the football a little bit. And they threw it 45 times. Now, they were losing for a lot of the game, so that tends to happen. But I thought Joe Sloan pivoted to the pass more. I doubt that was the plan coming in. I think they probably thought they could run the ball, but they didn't. And you put the ball in Garrett Nussmeier's hands, and he got the job done. I thought really, really quality decision-making, showed the arm strength, showed the accuracy, showed the clutch ability late in the game to make the big throws, and that gave me a lot of confidence in what this offense can be moving forward. And that's what I was hoping to take out of this bowl game when they announced it. And now you look at LSU's offense moving forward, and you see 4 of 5 offensive linemen potentially returning. You see Kyron Lacey returning. Brian Thomas has a decision to make, but a lot of young talent coming behind them there at wide receiver, and you bring in Xavier Thomas from the transfer portal. You see a running back room that with Diggs or without Diggs is seeing some talent come in. I'm not super thrilled with the fact that Caleb Jackson only got 2 carries. He's a track star who's built like a Jeep Wrangler. I'd really like to see him get some more carries. When he got them, he got in the end zone. He's so explosive, so fast, so physical, and has some of the traits that some of the other guys just quite frankly don't have. You run the ball 25 times and Caleb Jackson gets 2 of them. That didn't make me super pumped, but I think that changes next year. I think you see more of Caleb Jackson than you did, obviously, this year. And you start to look at that offense with a quarterback who you thought had some talent, but had never really been asked to do it. Yeah, 1 game against Arkansas as a freshman. Yeah, second half against Georgia in the SEC Championship when you're down by 100. Yeah, coming in against Alabama in Tuscaloosa, down 2 scores, having to throw it every play. You've seen him out there, but not in this capacity. And this was really, really encouraging. And I think there's every reason to believe that Garrett Nussmeier can be a winning quarterback in the SEC. And now he's got an offseason of getting all the reps with the ones, of knowing he's the guy. And he'll get ready to go against USC Labor Day weekend. The question is Joe Sloan his offensive coordinator? Is Cortez Hankton in that mix as well? That's a decision Brian Kelly's going to have to make here over the next week, 2 weeks. But that was really encouraging from my perspective to see Garrett Nussmeier play the way that he did and lead that drive late. It was really a complete performance to me from Garrett Nussmeier from almost start to finish. So that's my thoughts on the LSU offense. We do, however, have to talk about the LSU defense. We'll do that next.
The Hunt Palmer Show. Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Elevate brand visibility, ignite customer engagement with the power of radio and digital advertising combined. Guarantee Digital Media brings the two together as a trusted media partner in Louisiana for nearly a century. Claim your free digital audit at guaranteemedia.com.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $10,000 off MSRP on new 23 Jeep Grand Cherokee, $10,000 off new Jeep Grand Cherokee, and all new Bayou Automotive vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us online at reliefwindows.com. Oh, by the way, we do shutters too.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Wednesday's OTB. National championships in the air, and we'll continue to break it all down, as well as the latest news from your LSU Tigers and what do the Saints need to do off the bench, 7 to 10 a.m., 104.5 ESPN.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Good football yesterday. Both national semifinals were fantastic. I watched just about every snap of both. Seeing the highlights in here. We'll talk about it a little bit in hour number 2, but we're sticking with LSU and Wisconsin here to start off the show, and I just kind of lauded LSU's offense, thought it was excellent, and I thought the win was quality. We do need to talk about the defense because I spent a lot of December when thinking about this game and talking about this game and analyzing this game saying, I think with Wingo back, feeling healthy, Whitweek's back, feeling healthy, with another month of practice for the young corners who might be coming along, and this opponent, Wisconsin, who's a bottom half of the Big Ten offense, who scored 10 on Northwestern and 6 on Iowa and 14 on Ohio State. This is an opportunity for LSU to actually play a good game on defense. You've got very average quarterback, 6 touchdowns and 4 picks on the season. The leading rusher for Wisconsin, nearing 1,000 yards, is opting out of the game. They don't have explosive playmakers at wide receiver. this is a chance for LSU to really play well on defense. I thought it would look a lot like the Auburn game. Auburn came in, very average quarterback, trying to run the ball, not any explosive playmakers on the outside, and LSU held Auburn to 18 points. And I thought, I think that's reasonable. LSU should be able to hold them around 20, and you'll win the game. I said on the pregame show yesterday, I think this was my direct quote, if they give up 31 points, I'll be really disappointed. Well, they gave up 31 points. And it's really not any one thing. Unfortunately, it is the entirety of it. Until the very end, they didn't rush the passer. They do not cover very well at all. I was commenting earlier today with a coworker, and we were talking about watching the football yesterday, and I'm watching Michigan and Alabama and Washington and watching Texas, and the DBs are in position, and they make plays on the ball. Whenever an opponent drops back against LSU and throws it and the camera starts to pan, there's usually not an LSU defender right there in a place to make a play. And almost never do they actually make a play on the ball. Against the run, they give up chunk plays and the fits aren't there. Got just massive holes for Wisconsin running backs to run through. This is a fourth string back we're talking about from a Big Ten West school. It was a bad defensive effort yesterday. It just was. It was a bad effort. Wisconsin should not score 31 points on you with that unit. I know you've got two true freshman corners. I know your starting safety is out for the year. You've had a revolving door at defensive tackle at times. But you still have as good of players as Northwestern. And Northwestern held them to 10. I know Tanner Mordecai had a broken hand, limited. They had a backup quarterback in one of the games. Like, there's more to the story, but the overarching theme has to be there. You can't give up 31 points to Wisconsin. And with the departure of Mekhi Wingo today, it takes quite a set of purple and gold glasses to perch atop your nose and look at this and go, yeah, I think they're close. It doesn't feel that way. It feels like there are some numbers issues. It feels like there is I call it a pro issue. Like, who out there do you look at on the defense and go, oh, that's a pro? Wingo, second day pick, maybe he makes a team. Perkins has every ability to be that kind of guy. Deshaun Womack played a little bit yesterday, but I haven't seen enough from him. He's only a freshman. Stamson, Toviano were beaten a good bit yesterday. They're young. They can get better, no doubt. But it's every level you kind of look at. Man, I would have loved to see Whit Weeks coming off that right edge and get the sack done. Instead, he misses the play, and it creates a big explosive for Wisconsin. Like, that's a situation where the coordinator actually did his job. Like, Weeks comes free, gets off the edge, and has a free shot at the quarterback. Player doesn't get it done. But that's back to the point. Like, I would suggest, based on, I have no knowledge of what the game plan is, no knowledge of what the defensive call is, no knowledge of what they've worked on in practice or what the expectation is from the offense. I'm just reading in a big 30,000-foot view of this whole thing. I would suggest there have probably been some recruiting misses. There have been some development misses. You've had issues with defensive line coaches for some your fault, some not. You may have a bit of a talent issue. You probably weren't in the right call all the time. There might have been execution and communication issues. I just think it's everything. And while I like to win that 10th game, and that's a great job by Garrett Nussmeier yesterday, you can't help but also look at the defense and go, man, like, how do you make the necessary improvements to get where you need to be? Because Brian Kelly said it yesterday after the game. It was on our post-game show with Gordy Rush. Said, yeah, we're thrilled to get that 10th win, but next year 10's not enough. Got to get in the playoff. He said that on our show. And for you to field a defense that can get into the playoff It can't look anything like that. Anything. And you figure 7 or 8 of the starters from yesterday are going to be on that defense when Lincoln Riley puts his headset on in Vegas next year. So you got to continue to recruit. I'd love it if they got in the transfer portal and found some help. Get in that strength and conditioning room. Need some freshmen to grow up. Weeks, Womack, Stamps, Toviano. Saw Ryan Yates out there. Saw Kylan Jackson playing a little bit. Like, they may make huge jumps from their freshman year to their sophomore year and take over starting roles and make this defense more athletic and tougher and better. That's what it's probably going to take. But it was disheartening to watch Tanner freaking Mordecai yesterday kind of light it up. 378 yards and 3 touchdowns, no picks. This guy routinely was chucking for 115 yards. And they ran it well, too. 128 yards. Acker went for 86 on 6 yards a carry. Had a touchdown. Yakimelli came in as he's the 4th string back. He averaged 6.4 yards per carry. Now, give them credit. They got the pass rush going when they needed it and created those 3 sacks. And that was great on their part. And I'll give a hat tip to Matt House. I love the play call to bring 6 on the 4th down and forever play to finish the game. He dropped the DBs all the way back to the 17-yard line, and they sent folks. And Mordecai just cowered, and he fumbled 3 plays in a row, which I don't know if I've ever seen before. So they closed the game the way they needed to. They did what they had to do like they did against Missouri. In this game, they got stops on 4 of the last 5 possessions. But letting Wisconsin go for a massive amount of yardage and 31 points is disheartening. And you realize that now that you feel comfortable, if you're a fan, you feel comfortable with the quarterback and where the offense is. We'll see what the coordinator position looks like. Your entire focus now goes to how we can stop somebody next year. Like, what do they need to do? What steps need to be taken to get some stops? Because they were few and far between this year. And that's unacceptable, especially when your expectation is championship level, which Brian Kelly clearly has stated over and over and over again since he got to Baton Rouge. You'll take a win, another shootout. I tweeted this. Like, I get they can get into a shootout with Ole Miss and Missouri. I get they can get in a shootout with Alabama, even A&M. Getting Wisconsin up into a shootout because your offense is that good and your defense is that bad is impressive on a lot of levels. So we'll see over the next few weeks what the future holds for the defense. I'd be shocked. I got asked this yesterday. Do you think the entire defensive staff will be intact? And the answer I gave was no, because very rarely does that ever happen, where you go into an offseason and no coordinator leaves for another gig. No position coach leaves for a coordinator job, or no coordinator leaves for a head job. Like that almost always happens. When? Not sure. Early signing period's over. They've had their exit meetings, I'm certain, and Brian Kelly will have those decisions to make. And that's why he makes a lot of money. It's a good win for LSU yesterday. Offense great, defense not so much, but a win is a win. They finished 10-3. Wisconsin fell to 7-6 on the season. When we come back, LSU got some big news on New Year's Eve. We'll talk about it next.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show. In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, party plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us online at reliefwindows.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
His name was Cain. He had a horse along the countryside. I saw him ride. One day they found him.
Join us for the Wednesday edition of Live at Lunch. We are at Modesto, corner of Nicholson and Burbank. We will have Wes Reynolds with us. Scott Rabelais joins the program, and professional handicapper Randy McKay. Live at Lunch, 11 a.m. Wednesday on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You're listening to the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
So I didn't make it to midnight on New Year's Eve. It was a long run for the Palmer family. We were in Shreveport from December 22nd through the 25th, and then I had a New Orleans outing on the 26th, and then my son's birthday was on the 27th, and then we had a rehearsal dinner for a wedding on the 28th, and then we had a wedding on the 29th, and then my wife's birthday was on the 30th, and like by the time we got home New Year's Eve, it was like, we're putting on pajama pants and ordering pizza. And that's what we did. And I was asleep at like 11:15. I mean, that's close to midnight, but I did not get to midnight. Plus, I was on the air on New Year's Day at 9 o'clock, so it's not like you're going to go rage and then hop up and do a pregame show. So I was not awake when Dominick McKinley flipped his commitment from Texas A&M to LSU, but it was a nice thing to wake up to. And I didn't quite see it coming. I obviously don't follow this nearly as closely as Shea Dixon or Sonny Shipp or Mike Scarborough or whoever you're following for your recruiting needs. But I just kind of thought that Dominick McKinley wanted to go out of the state. I thought that Texas A&M and Texas were very much in play. I don't know if Alabama was potentially, but he had committed to Texas A&M, and you knew when Jimbo was fired, and then when Elijah Robinson decided to go become the defensive coordinator at Syracuse, that a lot of the members of Texas A&M's signing class might become available. And it appears that Dominick McKinley was one of those. And the staff never gave up on him, didn't take their ball and go home once he committed to A&M. And the result of that is, by some accounts, the top player in the state of Louisiana deciding to stay home and play for LSU. And on the one hand, it hurts A&M not being in their class, and on the other, it helps you to grab him. Depending on where you're looking, Dominick McKinley is a 5-star prospect. On 3, 24/7's got him as a 5-star. On 3 has him as a 4-star. ESPN and Rivals have him as a 4-star. But either way, he's 6'5", 280-pound defensive lineman from the state of Louisiana over there in the Acadiana area. And that's a guy that LSU traditionally gets. And if you're going to be a championship-level program, that's the guy you've got to get. Now, I'm not sitting here telling you I know the future with Dominick McKinley, because we thought we knew the future with Lance Hurd a year ago this time too. But I prefer to get the high school guys in. You get them for longer, and you can develop them in your system. And this is a big get. And as you well know, you know where I'm going here, if you've listened at all, or you're paying attention to this recruitment at all. But Brian Kelly's ability to recruit the state was a huge question mark when he came in here. Now, I personally think that it's ridiculous that every time someone from outside the state of Louisiana talks about Brian Kelly, they immediately go to a fake accent. Again, me and Matt Moscona are on the same page on this one. Matt and I are always on the same page. We're on the same page on this one. We think he slurred a word. I do it 6 times a show, every day. He's trying to say family and something. I don't think he was pretending to be from South Louisiana. I think everyone's pretty well aware where he's been for the last decade, where he's from. But he comes down here, and you look at, depending on the site that you're looking at, and 9 of the top 10, 12 of the top 14 in the state committed to LSU. And I do think there is something to the fact that having Louisiana players on your roster makes it more likely that they will stay. Now, I get it. Lance Hurd today flies in the face of that, but I still believe you got a better chance of holding on to players from Louisiana than you do Florida or Georgia or California. And LSU desperately needs help on the defensive line. Dominick McKinley provides that. Does he do it in year 1? I don't know. He seems to be playing really well in the All-Star game that he's at right now. But you got to keep cycling these guys in, because if you can't stop the run and rush the passer, you are toast. The elite level teams are going to destroy you. You see what Michigan did to Alabama's offensive line yesterday? They were all over Milroe in the first half. And then when Alabama had to have it late and tried to run the ball, Michigan stonewalled them. Michigan has recruited and developed across the defensive line. And Kwity Paye moves on, and Aiden Hutchinson moves on, and they just bring the next guys in. And they're great up front. That's what you've got to be. It's really fun to have the Heisman Trophy winner scoring a bunch of points for you. I enjoyed that greatly. But if you can't get stops, you're in trouble, because the quarterbacks you're going to run up against in these big-time games are going to be a handful. And guys like Dominick McKinley, or you have to bring in to try and slow those guys down. So for LSU, I thought a really, really nice get. He'll sign on the dotted line here coming up in a few weeks. But you're looking at this class with 29 commitments, 3 transfers, and you're maybe looking at Terry Bussey as kind of the last real target on the board, safety out of Texas. And that would be, if you could get him, 33, 34 guys you bring into the program. The roster is in a very, very healthy spot in terms of numbers. Is the talent where it has to be? That's to be determined. The second Brian Thomas and Malik Neighbors and Jaden Daniels walk out that door, the roster looks different. That's a lot of production from an unbelievable unit. I feel good about offensive line. I feel good about running back. I feel pretty good about receiver. You got to figure it out on the defensive side of the ball, and getting somebody like McKinley helps you there in a big way. So great job by the LSU staff to get that commitment. I'm not going to apologize that A&M had a coaching change-up that likely facilitated this. That's part of it. LSU went through this whole thing 2 years ago. Take advantage, and LSU did. Dominick McKinley, a new member of LSU's commitment class. That's it for hour number 1 here on this Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. If you missed any of the hour, it was all LSU football. You can find it at Hunt on LSU on YouTube. Find it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, wherever you find your sound, or of course on 1045ESPN.com. Hour number 2, talking college football playoff, talking Saints and Bucs. What else we got? Some other stuff to talk about too. Just come back after Sports Center. It's a Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, party plank, and vinyl siding. But our #1 product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us online at reliefwindows.com. Oh, by the way, we do shutters too.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $10,000 off MSRP on new 23 Jeep Grand Cherokee, $10,000 off new Jeep Grand Cherokee, and all new Bayou Automotive vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Steelers quarterback Kenny Pickett today gave his side of the story regarding a report that said he refused to dress as Mason Rudolph's backup for Sunday's game against the Seahawks. Pickett explained he was inactive because he wasn't cleared to play from ankle surgery. Added he will be QB2 to Rudolph on Saturday against Baltimore. With Rudolph's solid play the last two games, Pittsburgh does remain in playoff contention going into Week 18. ESPN NFL analyst Andrew Hawkins.
He's thriving in it because he understands, hey, my job and my opportunity is to go out here and just find the play. He's been doing that at a high level. I don't know how long he can sustain it, and I'm not saying he's the answer going forward, but what he's doing is nothing short of amazing, and you can see that in the play of the guys around him because he's lifted their play as well.
Amid questions about his future and whether Sunday's regular season finale will be his last one as Patriots coach, Bill Belichick said on WEEI he's only focused on the present and getting ready for the Jets. He added he had no big announcement to make, joked he'd take it to Twitter or MyFace so everybody could see it. Patriots about to cap off their first last-place AFC East finish since 2000.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy. Coming up Wednesday, Lamar Jackson is the MVP, but is he also the player in the league with the most pressure to win a Super Bowl? It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Your attention to something quite extraordinary.
Now, the Hunt Palmer Show. The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. This is Hunt Palmer.
Hour 2. First day of the Hunt Palmer Show for 2024. Happy New Year. Thanks for hanging out with us on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Lots and lots and lots of LSU football discussion in hour number 1. Hour number 2. We'll talk college football playoff in 15 minutes. Sharif Ishak from WDSU going to talk Saints with us in 30 minutes. So lots to do in hour number 2 as well. We will start with the Saints and the Bucs here, though. The Saints played a really nice football game on Sunday. They won it 23-13, controlled it from start to finish. They were 17-0 at the half. Did a really good job of getting takeaways, created 4 of those, picked Baker Mayfield off twice, had some pressure on him all day. Derek Carr, I thought, was efficient. Juwan Johnson looked great. And you really controlled a game on the road that I personally did not think the Saints would control. I picked them to get beat by 2 scores, quite frankly, because that's what the evidence suggested. The evidence suggested when you played a team that had a winning record or was in the hunt for the playoffs, that you got dusted. The record shows if you play Carolina or the Giants or the Bears, you win. But the Saints played really well, and I'm surprised at the outcome of the game. I am. But it's not a shocking thing because we all know that the Saints do have some good pieces. And they're a capable outfit. It's just not a consistent one. And so while I'm not shocked that they could do it for 3 hours, I'm a little surprised at how infrequently they put together a really good game. They played well against a terrible New England team. They played well against a backup quarterback against Indianapolis. And this was a nice win here against Tampa. And so the discussion is ongoing within Saints fans. It's not about whether or not they're going to take a quarterback in the draft. It's not whether or not they can win the Super Bowl. The question's kind of about the direction of the franchise. And I think there are some people that believe that what happens this coming Sunday has massive implications on the next 2, 3, 4 years of the New Orleans Saints. And I'm not there. And here's why. If you're going to boil down the direction of this team into the direction of this franchise in a 3-hour window in New Orleans where the Saints play the Falcons, and in that same 3-hour window, Tampa playing Carolina. And those 2 results completely dictate the decisions you're making moving forward, that is a horrible way to do business. You got to analyze this thing from every aspect. You don't just look at the record. You don't just look at the division. You don't just look at yes playoffs or no playoffs. You look at how the franchise is operating and what is best to do next. And if you determine that you want to go in a different direction because the Saints go 8-9 as opposed to 9-8, or the Saints go 9-8 and make the playoffs versus the Saints go 9-8 and miss the playoffs, then you're doing it wrong. That's far too little a variance to put that much weight in. I'd rather look at 2 years of a sample size. I'd rather look at 17 games with Derek Carr. I'd rather look at the entirety of the league, not just the crummy little NFC South. And so that's good news, bad news if you're a Saints fan. I think the good news if you're a Saints fan, hell, go out there and beat the garbage Falcons at home and get some help and get in the playoffs. That's more fun. I don't believe that Gail Benson, Dennis Lauscha, and Mickey Loomis will look at this thing and go, well, made the playoffs. That's your decision. I just don't. There's so much more nuance that would go into this decision than just one football game. There's 2 years worth here. That's 34 of them. So don't be afraid if you're a Saints fan that, hey, we really need to lose because I don't want Dennis Allen around anymore. I don't think so. I think there's a real world where you can pull for the Saints, they can win and get in the playoffs, and Saints ownership and the decision makers could also go, we did make the playoffs, went 9-8. That's not that good. We played the worst schedule anyone's ever seen in the modern NFL. The roster is aging, and yeah, we do need to pivot here. We need to do some things very differently. We tried the continuity thing. We tried that with all these players and with the defensive coordinator being elevated to the head coach and with the offensive coordinator's right-hand man being elevated offensive coordinator. And we tried to stay the course. And the result of that is a pair of 500 seasons. And that's not what we strive to be. So yes, we did make the playoffs in this hypothetical. However, it's not good enough. We cannot entrust the franchise with a direction that requires us to play the Bears and Tyson Badgett, Tommy DeVito and the Giants, eking one out against Tennessee with Ryan Tannehill. Like, that can't be the barometer here. We're not just comparing ourselves to Tampa and Carolina and Atlanta. We have to try to compare ourselves to Dallas and Philly and San Francisco. Try to compare yourselves to Detroit right now. Where are you in comparison to the teams that actually matter? Because guess what? Carolina doesn't. So it's way too practical in my head to think that the rest of the people in that organization think in wildly different. Like, if I could try to go through the other side of this, like, I could try. And I would say, okay, we made the playoffs. We're a winning team. Dennis Allen is one of the best defensive minds in the sport, and we've got him on our sideline. We can tweak the offense, maybe make a change there. Derek Carr has thrown for 3,500 yards in this league. We've got a couple of really young receivers that we like. And you know what? I think there's a real chance with some quality moves in the offseason and a couple of draft picks that we hit on that we go from 9-8 to 11-6. And then we're a real threat. I can try to go through that in my head, but sirens go off when I try. Because you're relying way too much on DeMario Davis in his mid-30s and Cam Jordan in his mid-30s, and you look over and Ryan Ramczyk may not play again based on Catherine Terrell's article because the injuries have piled up so significantly. Michael Thomas is toast. Kamara is old for that position. Carr doesn't look great. I just can't believe that they would look at 9-8 against that schedule, even if you got in the playoffs and go, I think we're on to something here. That would be wild to me. Wild. So if I'm a Saints fan, put on your black and gold on Sunday. Let's get in the playoffs. I don't think that mortgages the franchise's future. You probably did that with some of the free agent signings. But I don't think that it's going to be the end-all, be-all when decision time comes. That's impractical to me. But I guess we'll see. Really good win on Sunday. Played great. Do that again. You'll beat Atlanta at home. And see if you get some help. We'll talk more about the Saints coming up with Sharif Ishak at the bottom of the hour. The football yesterday was awesome. I loved both college football playoff games. Edge of my seat for the end of both of them. We'll talk about it next.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show.
It's a new year. How about in the new year, you make a decision, give you some peace of mind, and get a Generac generator from Boudreaux's Electric. Every Generac generator that Boudreaux's Electric sells comes with a free 10-year warranty. And for the life of that warranty, you're talking about $5.20 a day for the peace of mind to know, hey, my power's not going out. Hurricane season comes and goes. Those summer nasty afternoon thunder showers we get, trying to watch a game, trying to watch a show. You got a newborn at home. You're trying to keep milk cold. Whatever situation you may be in, you don't want the power going out. A Generac generator can help you with that. And Boudreaux's has such great technology that can monitor your generator 24/7. So if during the course of a normal day something happens and the generator malfunctions, they'll know about it. They'll call you, say, hey, we understand, we know something just happened to the generator. We'll send somebody out to fix it. Such great customer service for Neil and Melissa Boudreaux. They've owned it for 30 years. New location in Gonzales. Check them out. It's Boudreaux's Electric.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, Our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after-hours emergency. The light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, party plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction.
This Sunday, as we bring you 3 different NFL games, we start with the noon kickoff, the Vikings and Lions. Immediately following that, it's Bears and Packers. And then the night game, the Bills at Dolphins. Tune in this Sunday to hear all 3 of those games here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
For years, the college football playoff semifinals have been duds. I mean, absolute duds. And LSU, Oklahoma comes to mind. For the last 2 years, we've gotten some great ones. I mean, Georgia, Ohio State was fantastic last year. Michigan, TCU was great last year. And this year, we got treated to 2 phenomenal football games. Say what you will about Florida State. I think they should have been in. And I think their defense could have hung in there yesterday. But the result of the selections was phenomenal football. And while I was thinking about how great the 2 games were yesterday and kind of thinking about what I might say on the show. And I will say this, like, conference realignment sucks for some people. I feel terrible for Washington State and Oregon State. And I think that just unlimited transfers all the time is really tough. There's something about that just doesn't quite work for me. And NIL is a big deal. Again, it's not everyone's favorite. And there are a lot of things that are very different about college football than they were 20 years ago. But when it comes down to it, and the players do step on the field and put those uniforms on and go play, like, we're watching, and it's awesome. The on-the-field stuff is still great, even if you disagree with some of the things that go on off the field. And yesterday was an example of that. I don't think anybody yesterday, when you're watching overtime in the Rose Bowl between those classic programs and classic uniforms, thinking, man, I'm so ticked off the right guard is getting paid by that car dealership. I don't think anybody was thinking, man, this is so dumb because I bet the safety's about to transfer to Florida. No, you're just locked in because it's a great, great product. It was awesome yesterday. And we'll start with the Rose Bowl, which now I was tweeting along yesterday, and a lot of you were agreeing with me, like, back when Bama in the early Saban years was playing Texas for the national title, playing Notre Dame for the national title, playing Clemson even for the national title, like, I was so locked in and grinding, pulling against them. Like, I just despised that program and wanted them so badly to lose. And I was talking myself into the fact that if they keep winning, they're going to come into Louisiana and get recruits, and it's just going to be a bad thing for LSU, and we've got to have them lose this game. And somewhere along the line, Nick Saban and Alabama, they just won the war on me. And I just have lost the emotional investment that I once had. They're just inevitable, and they're going to win a lot, and they're going to take some kids out of Louisiana, and it's just going to irritate me. But I've lost the ability to emotionally invest in their failure. I can still do it with A&M, but Bama had beaten me up. So I wasn't watching the game yesterday with the same venom that I did when Colt McCoy got hurt. But it was classic. And Michigan goes out there with 2 years of playoff scar tissue. A beat down at the hands of Georgia and then gagging against TCU last year. and they're trailing in this game, and they get the ball down 7 with 4 minutes and 41 seconds to go. They get into a 4th and 2. They hit Corum. He goes down the sideline for a big play. Maybe the worst block in the back I've ever seen in my entire life on that run. But they go down and they score with 1:34 left. And big props, in my opinion, to Jim Harbaugh for not going for 2 there. I would not have gone for 2. I believe Michigan is every bit the team Alabama is, and probably more. And I think you go for 2 there when you think you're the lesser team. I absolutely agreed with Brian Kelly's decision against Alabama last year to go for 2. Absolutely. Because at that point, Bryce Young's over there, and you got Will Anderson out there. Like, it's just, they're a really good team, and you're trying to build this thing. And you know what? I got a pretty good quarterback. We got to get 2.5 yards. Let's go. In this situation, if I'm Michigan, I'm saying, all right, let's go play some more. And that's what they did. I thought that was the right call. And then they force Alabama to punt with 54 seconds left, and the kid muffs it inside the 5. And I totally agreed with Kirk Herbstreit on the color, who said, man, that is a really impressive play to pick that ball up at the 1 and get on it. Because how easy would it be to muff it and then make another mistake, and all of a sudden you got a safety or a touchdown for them? So bad play, but saved, and Michigan could kneel out the clock. And then in overtime, of course, Michigan goes right in and scores, and Bama gets the Milroe run down in there, but they get the 4th down. And the immediate reaction when you watch the game, you see the snap to Milroe, he runs straight into the line, he gets knocked down, and you go, what in the world is Tommy Rees doing? And that was my immediate reaction. Like, that is not a great call. And then they showed the replay, and people on Twitter start to diagnose what was happening. And then I see the call, and I think it was actually a very good call by Tommy Rees. I'll tell you why. You have the snap to Milroe, and then you pull a couple of offensive linemen for him to run. He's the best runner that you have. He's the best player that you have, and he's been running all day. But he also had the option to throw the ball into the left flat to a running back who had a numbers advantage and a leverage advantage on the Michigan defense. The mistake here was not the play call, which was a run-pass option. The design was Milroe catches the snap. If he sees awesome in front of him and feels like he can run it in from 4 yards out, you lower your head and go. If you see the numbers out to the left, mean you can throw an easy pass out to your running back, have the 2 receivers block, and get into the end zone that way, you have 2 options. That's a great call to me by Tommy Rees. Do you think that the best idea is to have Jalen Milroe catch a shotgun snap, read a 4-man progression, and thread the needle against Michigan with 4 yards of room? I don't. That's not his game. He's an athlete. I thought it was a good call. The snap ruined it. Because when Milroe had to go down to his shins to pick the snap up, and he had to take his eyes down off the defense, so now he can't diagnose the numbers game. He can't see what's in front of him. He's got to look down to catch the ball. Then he panicked, and that was where he did make a mistake. Instead of raising up and trying to figure it out, he just darted straight ahead. If he goes to the left, he probably scores. He didn't. But the snap hurt him. And how many angles has that game been broken down pregame? All the matchups and all the situations and all the things that are keys to the game. We do keys to the game segment every pregame show. Never once did you say, you got to make sure your snaps are good. And that's what it came down to. Bad snap, Milroe panicked, didn't get it done. And that was a great first game, and we were treated to a dandy last night. Washington beats Texas 37-31. Kalen DeBoer and Michael Penix, phenomenal. DeBoer 9-0 against AP top 25 teams at Washington, unbeaten against the top 25, 25-2 overall for Washington. They have won 10 straight by 10 or fewer points. They are playing tough and winning close games because they execute and they make winning plays, and Penix is a huge part of that. 29 of 38 last night for 430 yards and 2 touchdowns. He also tacked on 31 rushing yards. When he targeted Rome Odunze, Jalen McMillan, and Jalen Polk, he was 16 of 17 for 305. Those 3 guys are legit. Penix on 15-yard throws or more last night, 7 of 10 for 257 yards. But Texas battled. They got down 13. They were down 34-21, 13 points in the fourth quarter, clawed back. And they were in striking distance, and Washington had the ball 3rd and 5 with 1 minute and 2 seconds left, and they run it to run 40 seconds down off the clock, and they have a player get hurt. You got to take a knee there. You don't need to run the ball. I realize 5 yards wins it. And quite honestly, if you want to let Penix try to win it because he's the best player, maybe. But I think you got to take a knee. Instead, you have the injury, and only 15 seconds run off the clock. So Texas hits the 41-yard jump ball down to the 28, and then they run a wheel route to get inside the 15. And Texas had 2 plays from there to win it. Washington blitzed on 1, got home, and made Ewers throw it away. And then I want to criticize the last play call. You're right there, 10 yards to go, and you throw a little fade jump ball. But you did have A.D. Mitchell just straight one-on-one. And the Washington dude went up and made a play, knocked it away. Your odds are decent there with a one-on-one. I'd like Sark to be a little more creative, give me some crossing routes, and see if Ewers can't fit one into a window. But one-on-one with A.D. Mitchell, who's probably going to go in the 2nd round of the draft, not a terrible thought, but it was a phenomenal game. And, I continue, it's a long-standing belief that I've had, and I've been very consistent with it in saying this is a sport of haves and have-nots, and there are some teams that can do this, very few that can win national championships, and a ton that can't. And I don't know if I ever think of Washington as a team that can do it. I went there in 2009 when LSU opened there. Doesn't scream college football capital of the world to me. Gorgeous setting right there on the Puget Sound, right there, the water's there. Big stadium. It was a dump when we were there. They put a ton of money into it since. But I don't think about Washington because I don't think recruiting the state of Washington is going to win you a national championship. But Michael Penix is from Tampa, and you got a lead running back who's and a wide receiver from Bishop Gorman in Vegas, and they've put together a really solid team. They've got a great offensive line, a phenomenal quarterback, 3 dudes at wide receiver, and a defense that finds a way to make the plays they have to make late in games, and they're winning. They just win. Pac-12's not awesome. Not terrible, not awesome. Washington survived the gauntlet. They played their awful game in that Arizona State game where Penix turned it over twice and didn't throw a touchdown and was terrible and, quite frankly, probably cost himself the Heisman Trophy that day. But I think they can do it. I think I'm going to pick Michigan to win the game. We'll see. But they're good, and that's a good win over Texas in a 70% orange dome. I was in New Orleans the morning of the 31st, so New Year's Eve, so 48 hours-ish to kick. A lot of Washington fans, a lot more than I thought, were walking around. And I'll tell you this, I miss that incredible big game vibe when LSU's playing a big one in New Orleans, because I got a glimpse of it there with Texas and Washington fans a day before the game. We're down there for my wife's birthday. It's really cool. And I hope LSU is back to playing in big, big games real soon, because last night was a dandy to watch the Rose Bowl and the Sugar Bowl. And we'll get a fun final for me because I don't have to worry about an SEC team winning it. We can just worry Washington and Michigan. Couple of Big Ten teams, Washington and Michigan, do battle. All right, let's talk to Sharif Ishak next.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets, onebathandclosets.com is the website. David Duvall and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. Got a great interest rate. You love the location of your home, but maybe dated a little bit. Instead of moving, why don't you just get a brand new bathroom, brand new closet, customized to you? David Vaughn and his team can do it. They start that process with a free consultation. They come over, they give you a questionnaire, understand what you have, what you want, and they give you some options about what they can do for you. I can promise you this with One Bath and Closets. They're not going to come, take your money, get through the job as quickly as they can, get to the next paycheck. They're going to do it right the first time and leave the competition behind. Go to the website, onebathandclosets.com. You can see pictures of their great work, bathrooms and closets. You can read testimonials from some of their satisfied customers, and you can request that free consultation that can put you in a brand new custom closet or bathroom. Won't know unless you go to the website, onebathandclosets.com.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
His name was Cain. He had a horse along the countryside. I saw him ride. One day they found him.
It was a humid day, barefoot children play, looking for that summer shade. Time just slips away. Oh, Louisiana, some kind of hold on me. Like cypress stumps, your roots are planted deep inside of me.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after.
Night, we bring you the College Football National Championship as the Washington Huskies face off against the Michigan Wolverines. Kickoff begins at 6:30, and we will have full coverage for you here. So tune in to catch the National Championship game here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Big weekend for New Orleans. Had New Year's, had a fantastic matchup in the Sugar Bowl. Texas Longhorns bringing a lot of folks in there, but leaving with an L. Washington with the win. Sharif Ishak down in New Orleans, covers the Saints for WDSU, but we'll talk a little Sugar Bowl first. There are quite a few Longhorns in town, Sharif?
I think it was about 80-20 in the Dome last night. You know, it was a great atmosphere. It's an atmosphere I haven't seen in the Dome yet this season. It was full of juice. Great quarterback play. Best quarterback I've seen in the Dome this year. Penix, fantastic. He was awesome. He was lights out. And it's, appropriate for him to do it wearing the number 9 jersey in the Dome.
That was a shot. That was a shot at Derek Carr, Sharif.
Was it?
It was. So let's talk about the Saints. They played pretty well against Tampa. Better than I thought they would.
I told you what was going to happen, Hunt. I told you what was going to happen. They were going to mess around and win these final 2 games and say, oh, we almost got into the playoffs. We almost got in. We played our best football when it mattered the most. They did. I mean, honestly, I came on last week. I was very negative. I'll be positive about things and just say, that was some of the, best football Derek Carr has played, the defense has played, and it was against a team with a winning record. I mean, that opening drive, that was their first opening drive touchdown of the season.
Yep.
Took them 16 games to do that, but, he was efficient in the passing game. He was really clicking with his tight end, especially Juwan Johnson had his career game. Foster had a catch. Taysom had a couple catches. And he did his job against the tight ends. I think they found out that the Tampa Bay defense really struggles in the passing game with tight ends, so they took advantage of that. And, that was some smart football. I thought Pete Carmichael called his best game of the season. I just wish, I tweeted, where was this in the previous 15 games? It's just a little too late, but still got a slight glimmer in hopes of getting into the playoffs. But I really do think they played some really good football. It was complimentary, too, with the run game.
I mean, and you didn't even mention the defense, which I thought played very, very well. Baker and the boys had been good for about a month, and the Saints put them in a chokehold until the fourth quarter.
During this winning streak that they were on, I think Baker only had 1 interception, and, man, they got after him. It was all about the pressure. I mean, they forced him to throw some bad passes. The Alontae Taylor interception was just good defense. I mean, he went up and high-pointed that ball, and stopped them from possibly putting up some points. That was his first career interception. So, the defense has, for the most part, Hunt, has been there throughout the entire season. It's the slow starts or slow finishes with them. They just haven't had a solid 60 minutes, and it happened against Tampa Bay in Tampa. It's just something about Tampa, Hunt. I mean, they know how to win games in Tampa. Last year, it was like the first year they had lost a game in like 6 games in Tampa. So they've done well in Tampa, and they just buckled up, man. They got after him. I mean, Jonathan Abram, that amazing play along the sideline, stripping the ball, that could have turned into some points. So I enjoyed watching it in all 3 phases.
I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I watched the all-22 cut-up of every snap the Saints play, so I can't tell you how Brian Brzee is every single snap, but I will tell you that I notice him a few times a game. How would you describe Brian Brzee's his rookie season in New Orleans?
I wish we could go back and find the interview when you asked me, what do you think his expectations will be this season? And I said, if he can have somewhat of a Sheldon Rankins type of rookie season between 4 and 5 sacks, he's at 4.5 sacks. Yeah. I think for the most part, he's done a good job. He has done a good job. Some of the stuff hasn't showed up on the stat sheet, but he has the 4.5 sacks. He's able to bull rush some guys. He's able to beat some double teams, and he's able to stuff the run. He'll find some consistency whenever he gets into his second season. There have been times when he's gone missing. When it comes to shedding off some offensive linemen to stop some runs or even like create a little pressures. But you know what? That's what I told you. As long as he can have this type of rookie season, they're set up for success with him moving forward. Now they just got to find some more guys along that defensive line after the season's over.
Do you think the results of the Saints and Falcons game on Sunday and the Panthers and Buccaneers game on Sunday, the results of those 2 games, does the future of the franchise hinge on that?
I don't think so. I mean, regardless of what happens, let's just say if they accidentally get in as the NFC South champions, they have to find a way to get younger and get better along both sides of the line because it's inconsistent. Huh? And the key word for this team this season is 100% inconsistent. I mean, and it starts up front. And as cliche as it is, they have to find a way to protect the Derek Carr, open up the holes for running backs. Haven't had a 100-yard rusher this year. That's a little surprising to me. I mean, I thought Alvin would have 100 yards in one game. Hasn't had it this year. And I don't even know if he's going to play Sunday because of the ankle, but they've got to find a way this offseason to kind of, finagle their way and find some guys along the line. I mean, without the line, they're not winning games. They've invested a lot of it, and it just hasn't worked out through the draft. And that's where they're that's why they're set back a little bit because of the draft and not hitting on those defensive and offensive linemen. So, yeah, Nah, it's not going to change my opinion. They still got some things to figure out this offseason.
One of the draft picks they hit on the line was Ryan Ramczyk. It was a long time ago now, but they hit, and he's been a phenomenal player, an all-pro right tackle. But the injuries have piled up over the last 3 seasons. What's his future?
His knee, man. It's his knee. Last couple of seasons, it's been an issue. He's just got to find. I don't know if it's this is going to be one of those knee injuries that it could be a career for him. He's just got to see the right doctor to see if he can continue. I mean, he's had an all-pro career at times. Just hasn't been healthy for 2-3 seasons, Hunt. He had that one injury, and it just had set him back for a couple of years on his knee. So I think he's going to try to figure it out this offseason. I'll put that at 50-50, man. I know he wants to keep playing, and he's played through the injury throughout the year, but it just got so bad that they couldn't play him anymore. He's ineffective. He just could not go out there and play on that knee. It'd be great to get him back if he's 100%, but how long does he last if he does have the good knee surgery? I mean, you would like to have your all-pro there, but I think, that's another position this offseason they have to address, regardless if he's back or not. You've got to find somebody who can protect, Derek Carr from the right side. I mean, that's
Can Penning do it?
No. He can't. No. I mean, look, dude, they were down when Landon Young went down. They put Cam Irving in.
Yeah, I know.
What does that tell you about Trevor Penning? He's 3rd or 4th string. He's only playing on special teams. I mean, that's, once again, one of the sins that's cost this team that in the draft that's, set them back along the line. It was a bad decision. I mean, somebody's got to be held accountable for it. I don't know if it's Doug Marrone. Somebody's going to, have to pay for it because he's not playing.
Yep, no doubt about that. Atlanta comes in. First, what kind of environment do you think you'll see?
It's a little bit different now that they've won that Tampa Bay game and they have that, the slight hopes of making it into the playoffs, whether through the wild card or the NFC South. Look, there are fans out there who wanted the Saints to lose the final 2 games. Once they lost that game, now you can't say we want you to lose. We want our team to lose to the Falcons. Now you have to beat the Falcons. It's you look silly losing to. I can't believe they lost them the first time. That's a bad football team, Hunt. They're spiraling every year at the end of the year. They need to just make them submit, man. You got to punish this team into the ground. They're just not good at all. I mean, you cannot make the red zone mistakes that you made last time with Taysom and Derek. So I expect the environment to be wild and crazy. I hope I see the same environment I saw last night in the Sugar Bowl. I was telling everybody this is the environment that we used to see when Drew Brees and the offense were clicking. It was outstanding. It just sounded great. And let's just see if it sounds that way Sunday. And hopefully it is for the final game of the season. And maybe the Saints finally get some crazy help that they have never gotten in franchise history. It feels like when they need to get into the playoffs.
You think they win on Sunday?
Yeah, I do. I do think they win. I just think that maybe they found something after that Rams game and had like a 10-day layoff and try to fix things, got a little healthier. I think they're going to win. I mean, I just want to see, I don't know what Alvin's going to play or not. He's day-to-day with that ankle injury. I want to see another draft pick who hasn't played much, Kendre Miller, get a chance to play. But Jamal was effective in that game against the Bucs. I want to see more Jamal Williams. I'd like to see him get his first touchdown. I'd like to see Kendre Miller out there since he hasn't played since the Bears game. But, yeah, I feel good. I think it's going to be close, but I feel good. I think they can win.
When you say that, I realize it, but Jamal Williams led the NFL in touchdowns last year and does not have one with the Saints this year. That's the kind of year that it's been.
Yeah, but he also didn't have Taysom Hill taking carries away from him, Alvin taking carries away from him. So he was just the main guy at the goal line scoring touchdowns for them at Detroit Lions. Now it's everybody else getting a piece of that pie. So, it'd be nice to see him have that, final game of the year. Maybe it's him who has that 100 rushing yard of performance and he gets a couple touchdowns. But, it should be in this spot. What did I tell you? That Green Bay Packers game would come back to haunt him.
Yeah, there's a couple that kind of fester like that. The Houston one as well, I think, was one they absolutely could have won and didn't quite get it done. We'll talk next week, Sharif. Thanks, man.
All right,
Sharif Ishak, WDSU down there in New Orleans, talking black and gold. If you want to check that segment out weekly and all our Saints discussions, you can do it on our Saints YouTube channel, Hunt on Saints, all Saints football, cut up into digestible 10, 12-minute segments. Casey does an awesome job helping us out with all of that. So check it out on YouTube, Hunt on Saints. We'll come back and close it out on the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show. Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
The importance of doing this Fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
You know, we're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance shops, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the Fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a Fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. I think we're rocking and rolling.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after-hours emergency. The light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
A metal roof can add value to your home and is energy efficient. Call Majestic Metals at 225-675-3800 and talk to our knowledgeable sales staff for all your commercial and residential needs. Visit us on the web at majesticmetalsinc.com.
Custom Colors of Baton Rouge, specializing in body and paint, feature 100% platinum certified technicians, ensuring your car or truck is being worked on by the very best of the best. Custom Colors, located in the Industrialplex off Segan and Airline.
Off the Bench with Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert. Mornings from 7 to 10 on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. 5 brands on one lot. Shop BayouAutomotive.com.
So join us for Tuesday's AFR presented by Sunshine. Matt is back in the host chair. We're recapping LSU, Wisconsin, and the ReliaQuest Bowl. Saints and Bucs. It's Tuesday's AFR, 3 to 6. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Closing things down here on a Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Good to be back in action. Feels like a Monday, but it's not. All of a sudden you'll wake up tomorrow and it'll be Wednesday, it'll be hump day. So that's a good start to the new year. Appreciate y'all for hanging out with us. Got one more order of business here, and that's take it or leave it.
All right, first one here. LSU shot 52% from three-point range in a blowout win over Northwestern State in the team's final pre-conference game. Jalen Cook is making a difference. Take it or leave it.
I'll take it. He's definitely making a difference. How big a difference?
I'll take it.
I don't know. He's the best player on the floor. And Mike Williams made 6 threes in the game, which was nice to see. I think that there's some potential there with the freshman guard. They've got front court issues. Damian Collins did come back. Jalen Reed was out with an illness. Northwestern State's awful. They're a 2-win team we're in January and they won 2 games. But it was a nice, kind of exhale for the team before they get into conference play. You'll go to College Station on Saturday to play a good Texas A&M team that hasn't quite found it totally, and they're not going to have one of their best front court players for the whole season in Julius Marble. And then you got Vanderbilt coming here next week. You need to win that game. So nice win for them in terms of the way that they played, but real step up in competition coming on Saturday.
Nick Saban coached his final game yesterday. Take it or leave it.
I'm going to leave that. I'll have to see that to believe it. If it is announced, you'll see me running through town throwing a party. But I don't think he's done. I think that he wants to win another one. And I don't think he's going to coach for 5 more years. We talked about this on signing day. I think the guys that signed this year will have a different head coach if they stay for 4 years. But I don't think he's done as of yesterday. I'll leave that.
Tua Tagovailoa gifted the entire Dolphins QB room golf simulators for Christmas. Take it or leave it.
Take it. That's a great gift. I think it's
also not cheap.
No, it's not, but he's got a pretty good contract.
Yeah, he's doing fine.
I looked at you can get one. They're not all like 14, 18,000. You can get one for like 3,000. So not that I'm about to go run out and get one, but I think Tua can handle it. That's probably the only room you can give golf simulators to. I don't know if the big hog. Now Kyle Williams and Andrew Whitworth play, so I guess those boys can play. But you get those 340-pound D tackles at golf simulator, they're probably gonna be like, "Where's my Rolex? Give me a car or something." So yeah, it's that's a great gift by Tua. I love it.
You are a fantasy football champion, Hunt. Take it or leave it.
Got to leave it. 3rd appearance in the championship. We didn't get there. We lost by 3 points.
3 points.
Had a few managerial mistakes. Left Breece Hall on the bench. He went nuts. Had one wide receiver that had a big day that I left on the bench. Lamar Jackson got 40 against me.
We talked about that last week. It was going to hurt. It was going to be really, really tough sledding, especially with Lamar at the helm.
And Hurts only had like 16, which he usually does better than that. There's a point where I was down 40. And I got it all of the game. All the players were at noon. It was really cool because there was no waiting on the Monday night game. Every single player played at the same time, and I whittled it all the way down and got within 1 point. And then Jalen Hurts threw a Hail Mary interception, which was -2, and I had 2 guys left, and neither one of them got the ball again. And second place, always the bridesmaid, never the bride. I did come to a startling realization. There's 10 of us in the league. I'm one of only 2 that has never won the title. I've played in the title game 3 times. I'm 0-3. Call me the Buffalo Bills. It's a tough scene.
All right, last one here. Plucker Sports Trivia tonight. Take it or leave it.
Take it. Back in action. We sat it out last week. It was the 26th. Not a good night. Everybody's kind of taking the Christmas time with their friends. But we will be back in action. Plucker Sports Trivia tonight, 8:30, Nicholson location. I don't even know what's on TV tonight. There's got to be some college hoops on, some NBA. We'll be playing sports trivia. If you never come on out. It's a lot of fun. Starts at 8:30. We'll get you out of there before 10 o'clock. You can eat some awesome wings, drink some cold pops, and go ahead and win some gift cards. Sports trivia, always a wonderful time. So come solo, grab a team, and come on out. Plugger Sports Trivia every Tuesday at 2:30. Very much looking forward to it. Tomorrow's show, going to be a fun one. Glenn West, usually with us on Tuesdays. He was traveling back from Tampa, so we'll chat with Glenn tomorrow about the Tigers. We'll have J.D. Picalbo on 3 Sports talking about the playoff, as well as LSU, transfer portal, all things college football with J.D. It's a What If Wednesday, so we'll do a little bit of that as well. Start to get you ready for Saints and Falcons coming up on Sunday. So join us for a Wednesday edition coming up tomorrow. If you missed today's show, you can catch it all on demand, 1045ESPN.com's on-demand tab. All our shows are archived there each and every day. You can get Off the Bench, Live at Lunch, Hunt Palmer Show, AFR. They're all there at 1045ESPN.com. If you're more of an app person, we can do that too. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, wherever you get your sound, you can find us. Our shows in their entirety are on YouTube as well. I opened the show talking about the decisions of Lance Hurd and Mekhi Wingo to leave LSU. Mekhi Wingo headed to the NFL. Lance Hurd headed to the transfer portal. What does that mean for those two guys, and what does that mean for LSU moving forward? I think one of them is a significantly bigger hit than the other one. You can catch that at the top of the show. Then I talked to LSU Wisconsin, opened with my thoughts on Garrett Nussmeier as well as Joe Sloan and what that means for the future of LSU. And we also had to hit the flip side. That's the defense and how they performed against a bad Badgers unit. So you can catch both of those. Hunt on LSU on YouTube. All of our LSU football content, always there. Hunt on LSU on YouTube. Dominick McKinley flips from A&M to LSU. That closed out our number one. Some good news for Brian Kelly and his staff as he's pretty much secured 9 of the top 10 in the state of Louisiana through this cycle. I talked Saints at the top of hour number 2 and what I think Sunday means for the black and gold. College football playoff was great yesterday. My breakdown at 2:15, and then Sharif Ishak from WDSU in his normal segment talking Saints at 2:30. Catch all that wherever you get your on-demand sound. That's going to do it for us. Matt's about to drive you home on After Further Review. He's been out for a while, so he's probably got a lot to say. So he's going to jump in and drive you home from 3 to 6. We're back tomorrow, same time and same place. Hope to see you at Pluckers tonight. If not, 1 to 3 tomorrow on the Hunt Palmer Show.
His name was Cain. He had a horse along the countryside. I saw him ride. One day they found him.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge